Hold bear with me. I don't see myself, but I can hear myself. So this. Oh, yeah. What's up, Senu? Hena Senu itiren ishakan duguke It's been a while. Yesterday I tried to. There was some issue with the internet connection, even though it's supposed to be a high speed. Has changed. I have changed it recently, but anyway, I remember some of the things that I was saying yesterday until I realized that the video quality was too bad. As many of you have noticed, besides the current allegation and legal proceeding that is going on, we have all noticed that members of the conscious community, Pan-Africans, however you want to call it, are aware of some people, some individual who has allegedly been convicted twice for molesting a child. Yet that person was featured on those quote unquote conscious community platform. So they did not have any problem with that. Beside a child molester invited on conscious community people's platform, there's the issue of scamming, stealing money from people. These accusations were made publicly. Yet it wasn't a problem. Some of you might be new, but those who have been listening to me for a while know that on a regular basis, I mention the issue of rapists and pedophile, Pan-African rapists and pedophile. There is a very known case of someone sexually abusing a little girl. And it did not bother the French Pan-Africans, the French-speaking Pan-Africans. The dude was invited like it was nothing, protected, defended. And because I spoke out against that, I was attacked, even physically. When people receive money, sometimes they will hush, even when there are severe actions that were taken. Serious acts that children had to go through. Now, when it comes to the scamming, stealing money from people, it's like nothing. I mean, when people different rapists and pedophiles, the issue of people stealing money, it's like nothing. And that's the way that some people eat. And what's crazy is that you have those people who are aware of that, and it's been going on for years, and they don't say anything about that. I've left the calling link. Okay. Feel free if you want to holler. But for those who think, well, they messed it up for everybody. In a sense, yes. It appears that, yes, in a sense, it's messing it up for everybody. Because I think many of you will agree the conscious Black people, or the Black people who are concerned about sharing the history and the culture and practicing it for some. Because, for example, you have a lot of people who talk about Kemet, who greet by saying Hotep. They couldn't read two glyphs. You put the Hotep glyph in front of them, they don't know how to read it. They only know one glyph, and that's the Ankh glyph. They won't practice anything. And many people like to claim that they are not religious and that they are spiritual. Many people like to claim traditional African ways of spirituality, particularly Kemet. And for them, that's the way to be removed from the Abrahamic religion or the Indo-European belief system, and then they can be on a path where anything goes, where there is no morals, where there are no rules. But that's not my art at all. You don't need to dig too deep in order to be informed about my art. You can just look up what is commonly referred to as the 42 negative confession or 42 principles of Ma'at. That will give you a clue, that will give you an idea. Some people will highlight the current situation in order to allege that this is common practice amongst the so-called conscious people or Kemetic people. But sadly, this kind of behavior, when children are being abused, happens nearly everywhere, no matter what the religion of the individuals. I could mention so many Catholic priests who have been convicted of abusing children. There are some imams who have molested children. Yesterday, I was talking about an example in England where the family took the matter to court, and their fellow Muslim, the Muslim community that they used to be part of, had tried to convince them not to take the matter to court because it would be a bad look for the community. Family refused because, of course, we can understand that's very serious that a child is abused by somebody that trusted and who was a religious figure, a religious leader. So after the family refused to hush for the sake of the good image of the community, they were harassed, not to say persecuted. They even had to move. And I was mentioning also about Senegal, those children known as Talibé, who are mainly begging and learning the Quran. A fair bit of them are being abused by imams. And one Senegalese wrote an article about this. It's part of a human rights organization. And I wanted to do an interview with him. I spoke to him on the phone, but he couldn't make it, unfortunately. But the article is there. I mean, this is in French, so, but I shared that, and I alluded to that, I'm pretty sure. People know about this, but they don't speak out about this. And there's also the Gorée Island, that place of pilgrimage, the middle passage, the door of no return. Well, on Gorée Island, there's a documentary that maybe you can find on YouTube. And there's some rich American molesting children, and people know about it, but they are not doing anything or saying anything. So that was one example with Christianity slash Catholicism, one example with Islam, and then you have other religion where I'm pretty confident it happens. And I hope that things will change for the better. If for whatever reason people don't want to speak out, I wish that they will not promote individuals known for doing these things, even suspected of doing these things. But suspicion is not a fact. It's really sad when people are known for having committed those crimes and yet they are supported. Now, please let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. I did mention some Pan-African so-called teachers, so-called scholars. In the French-speaking world, he has some audience, fair bit of people who listen to all the BS he's saying. Oh, thank you very much. Spirit Hawk said yes. And Beverly Gunn said yes. Now, Beverly Gunn, I know she came to the live stream before, so it's good to see you. Spirit Hawk, I don't recall seeing that username. If you came before, then I just simply forgot, so don't be mad at me, but welcome. So, a fair bit of time I mentioned this dude who's just talking basically a lot of nonsense, but he's saying it with some complicated words, and that's all it takes sometimes for people to be impressed. And one of the examples that I can tell you, I mean, this dude showed a Nubian cartoon or drawing of Muhammad that is taken from now I forgot which book it was, but it might have been from the book Sheikh Dawood versus Far Muhammad or Sheikh Dawood versus the Nation of Islam. This is something that you can find online. So he showed that drawing, and he told the people this is a drawing of Prophet Muhammad made with made from testimonies of his companions. And he even said, I have some portrait of Prophet Muhammad when he was younger. One of the most ridiculous things I ever heard in my life. You see, some people don't even understand that when someone shows you a drawing or a painting and claims that it's a painting made out of the description of the companions of Prophet Muhammad, Muslims worldwide will know about it, even though by tradition, Muslims do not show depictions of Muhammad, at least his face. But that's not the case for all Muslims. If you are not aware, the Shiite Muslims have plenty of depictions of Muhammad. However, I never heard any Shiite mentioning or claiming that there are some depictions of Prophet Muhammad made from testimonies of the companions, because we can check the dates. You understand what I'm saying? But it's not the first and probably won't be the last one to be talking a lot of smack. You understand what I'm saying? He does that on a regular basis. But he is known for scamming people. He is known for having doing that for at least a decade, but probably 2 decades. Everybody know, all the French Pan-Africans know that they put it on a hush. And when I say they, I'm talking about those who, quote unquote, control the French Pan-African community. It disgusts me. It did then, it does now, and it will later on. Now, Spirit Hawk wrote, good morning. It's all good, brother. Andrew insists I can't sleep tonight. Dawn comes soon. Welcome. Abdullah Khan wrote, as an ex-Sunni Muslim, you're absolutely right. That's good to know. And welcome to you, Abdullah Kent. Now, if you don't mind, brothers and sisters, telling me, and for Beverly reminding me where you are located, just so that I can have an idea. Now, Abdullah, I would like to ask you, it has faded away lately, but it was very big at some point. Are you familiar? Have you ever heard those people who claim that Prophet Muhammad was black? And if you have heard about it, what is your take on that? If you haven't heard about it, then I will leave it there. Spirit Oak is from the East Coast. Okay. See, I was told that maybe I should go on a particular platform. And I was saying that I'm not too comfortable because you have some people who have anti-black, anti-African teaching who go on that platform. And during the conversation, there's a fair bit of lies, so I wouldn't remember which one it was. Beverly Gunn is from Arkansas, US. Okay. I think I mentioned, but it was very, very brief, that there was some accusation made. But one of the latest thing I said about this large platform, I did say it's not a comedic platform. Sometimes you don't really want to speak on other platform because nowadays if you don't agree, you are labeled as a hater. And it bothers me when you have platform where we have some comedic words where people claim that it's comedic, and, and Ma'at is not followed. Following Ma'at doesn't mean being perfect. Which human being is perfect? But if you have some knowledge about some child molestation, how can you, besides that, because people say it's not established, you accuse someone of being a scammer. You even said that he scammed you. Why would you put him on after that? What did he say? A payment? Now, Abdullah Kent wrote, I kind of have, so he kind of have heard people claiming that Prophet Muhammad was black. And he adds, but he was Arab from the tribe of Banu Hashim. Okay. Yes, because we have those people who claim that the Arabs were black. And they're talking about Arabs of the 7th century. And so, brothers and sisters, what is your take about the current events? What is your take about the so-called conscious community having knowledge of people who have molested children, but yet they're still cool with them? They still invite them on their platform. Years ago, I said, rule number 1, no fence riding. I don't want to sound like I told you so, but a fair bit of time, you might sound, I don't want to say, you might sound like you don't really want to associate yourself with people, but that's not the end goal. That's not the goal. The goal is not to associate yourself with as many people as possible. It's best to be associated with a few people who are loyal and who have morals, who have standard. It cannot be a anything go melting pot, because things like that happen then. And there's one thing that saddens me is that I've heard from a few people, well, okay, this guy, he did this or he's accused of doing that. He's an African. And I'm like, well, all this time, it wasn't an issue. all of you were, all of y'all were rolling with dude. There's good and bad everywhere. Bad stuff can be done by Africans, by African Americans, by Europeans, by people in Hawaii, Alaska. Abdullah Kent wrote, we need to cancel the conscious community. Brother Polite, Saneda, Young Faunat. What surprised me regarding Omar Johnson is that he still has so many followers, or should I say believers. Hasn't it been like 10 years? How many years ago was the grand opening of the so-called school? Now that username is quite long, so I'll just say wake up world, but it says, let's see what the verified evidence shows about Brother Polite. Everything has been allegations, according to his lawyers. In due time, we will know. Oh, well, you know, indeed, there's no conviction yet. However, an accusation was made publicly years ago. Now I'm hearing, well, because the case was thrown out of court, you know, besides the accusation, well, even if the case is thrown out of court, you came out publicly and make this allegation. It's a strong allegation to make publicly. And I even heard, well, I was kind of bluffing, talking about I have more insight. I could say so much, but I won't go there now. You see? But then again, once again, there was the accusation of scamming. Now, Brother Polite, besides Brother Polite, there's that Hebrews are alike, and the conscious community members, several of them have mentioned one Hebrew Israelite having been convicted of molesting children on two occasions, and I don't think it's the same child. It was most likely two different child. So when I say two occasions, I don't know how many times the children were molested, but I've heard conscious community members say publicly that the dude was convicted twice. Yet that dude was on some conscious community platforms. Wake Up World wrote there, yes, there are levels of bad and good. And then he also wrote, many people are saying that they have received their orders and services from Saneda and BP, so certain people confirm they are not scammers. Well, the same person you mentioned said publicly that he has been scammed by BP and that BP scammed plenty of other people, including children. So besides the accusation of rape, the dude stated that he was a scammer. How come he had him on after saying that? Did he receive money and then BP was no longer a scammer? Did he make a wrong accusation? False accusation? I mean, he did not say, I heard he was scamming. He specifically said emphatically that he was a scammer. Now, Wake Up World wrote, I hear you, Shaka, let's see what happens. And actually, I hope, brothers and sisters, and including yourself, Wake Up World, that the way I'm speaking, I hope you don't feel like I'm heated at you. You see? Not at all. I mean, even if people don't agree with me, I'm not going to try to disrespect them. Unless, I mean, a few times some people have been disrespectful towards Black people and Africans, and that got me kind of angry. But it doesn't really happen much. But sometimes it does happen. But if people have a difference of opinion, I'm not going to have a go at them. Now, ladies, okay, yeah, I saw you. I think during the last live stream. Is it Lady Isa or Lady Isa? How do you? I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it actually a I after the Y, or is it a lowercase L? So should I say Lady LSA? But she wrote, there are many right here in Miami. Many what? Many scammers or many rapists. Beverly Gunn wrote, we have standards. Anything doesn't go. Yes, we should have standards. But obviously, within the conscious community, we haven't had much standards lately. So Lady LS, well, I don't know. She wrote, you are correct, many rapists. I was just asking a question. Now, actually, speaking about Umar, for those who don't know my Twitter, you have the address right here, there. And you can see that Umar has posted a picture of some panties, some underwear that a follower or fan sent to him with a note saying, happy birthday, Umar, and all that. You are the GOAT. Why would he do that? And we can see what I think is the envelope with the address. To me, it's like encouraging other females to send him that kind of thing. So some people are apparently okay having someone running a school and that person post picture of some underwear that a fan of a female sent to him on Twitter. I'm sorry, I posted it on Twitter. That was on Instagram, and you can go on Instagram right now. Go on Instagram right now, and then you will see. Just bear with me 1 second. Yeah, I'm back. So lady says from the Hebrew community. Apparently there are many. Well, yes, a lot of people have mentioned another one who's apparently in hiding now. I actually saw a list of the ages of the children that he's alleged of having molesting, and it was like 7, 9, 12. Like apparently he molested so many, and I'm wondering. Well, maybe he hasn't been convicted because I'm wondering why is he not in jail? He's on a run or hiding, so probably he hasn't been convicted. And as for the other one, like I said, I heard about it years ago. I first saw that individual, then we didn't see him anymore. Then we saw him again. And when we saw him again, that's when people said, well, this guy went to jail because of that. And then we didn't see him anymore. And then lately we're seeing him again. So I presume that's why we didn't see him again. The people know. So wake up, wake up world says, yeah, I heard about that. I personally received products from BP and I wasn't scammed. Mm-hmm. Abdullah Kent wrote, doesn't surprise me. Dr. Umar is very misogynistic. Also, I know this is off topic, but can you explain more about the Arabs being black in 7th century? Well, this is not my claim. This is not my claim. Probably the first book written with the claim of Arabs being originally black, including the 7th century, because you see the term originally, we have a lot of people who love to say, oh, black people were the first on earth, so everybody was black. And white people came in recently. So they like to come with this logic in order to claim blackness of many individuals, people from Mesopotamia, Sumeria, Israel, or Palestine, or Canaan, Arabia, even Southern America, North America, the Olmecs, the Mayans, the Aztecs, damn near everybody. Amazingly, they don't include the Europeans. They don't claim, well, we Europeans because first it was, I'm sorry, there's just two guys who, well, there was close to be a fight. That's why I was disturbed. So forgive me. So I usually say there's the Grimaldi man, and some people say that the Grimaldi man was a black man. But we don't hear people say, well, we're the original Europeans. They love to say we're the original Arabs, we're the original Hebrews, we're the, you know. So that's why many times I specify the 7th century, because I don't deal with those dates like, 200,000 BC. You see, I'm not trying to say, well, in 200,000 BC, in Sumeria, in Arabia, in Canaan, those people are not black. I don't deal with that kind of date. But 7th century, oh yes. 1000 BC, 1500 BC, 2000 BC. There's my video entitled White Semites Black Awakening, and you can see some artifacts of individuals from those areas, the Levant, the Near East, the Middle East, and so on, including Canaan. And there's a few depictions of Arabs before the advent of Islam, before Muhammad ibn Abdullah. Okay? So, probably the first book claiming that the Arabs are black, well, at least to my knowledge, that's why I say probably, is called The Unknown Arabs by someone known as Tariq Berry, who apparently lives in Morocco. I think the book was published in Morocco. We don't know much about him. He's kind of anonymous. Well, I don't even know if that's his real name, because Tariq Berry doesn't really sound like someone from Morocco will have as a name. However, another book that had more publicity is Black Arabia and the African Origin of Islam, written by Dr. Wesley Muhammad, who is a member of the Nation of Islam, who is a Dianetic supporter. And I can speak about this topic with confidence because, for those who don't know, I'm not saying that to brag, but Wesley Muhammad has challenged me to a debate. He publicly challenged me. I accepted, and then he backed down. So they are claiming that the Arabs were black in the 7th century, mainly using Ibn Mandur's Lisan al-Arab, where it is mentioned that Abyad, which is the main Arabic word for white, means pure, noble, good character, and so on. Okay? So they try to argue that when the word is used, it's not talking about complexion, it's talking about character. Another thing they are trying to do is to use the word asmar and translate it as black, and translate many other words as black. They claim that Prophet Muhammad was jet black, but they have yet to show you one quote, one citation from some San or Sahih hadith where Muhammad is described as black, with the main Arabic word for black, which is aswad, and there's some variation, sawad, and so on. Sauda, sawad, but aswad is the main word. So when we look at the classical literature, when we look at the hadith, the Sahih hadith, Sahih Muslim, Sahih Bukhari, Muhammad is clearly described as Abyad or white. Now, that word that they try to use is asma, which means something like brown or tanned. You see? And there's one description of Muhammad described like that, and that's from At-Tirmidhi. And that hadith, the author tells us, is Hassan Harib. Harib means odd, O-D-D, basically strange. Okay? So it's not a Sahih hadith. It's not considered to be an authentic hadith. Now back to Ibn Mandur, Lisan al-Arab. For Abyad, he says that's the opposite of Aswad. Okay? So whoever try to claim that Abyad sometimes means black, Ibn Mandur said that Abyad is the opposite of Aswad. That kills the argument. As for Asmar, Ibn Mandur says in his Lisan al-Arab that it is a degree between white and black. So it kills their second argument. But the sad thing is that most of our people, they don't have the knowledge about this foreign language, and they won't necessarily make the effort, you see? So because the dude has a PhD in Islamic studies, they take his word for face value. But he's not the first one. He's not the only one making those claims, you see? And recently I have quoted someone called Habib Akande, who has studied in Al-Azhar University in Egypt. And he talked about black people in Islam, companions and so on. And regarding this claim of Prophet Muhammad being black, he labeled it as absurd. You see? Now, what they like to do is mentioning companions of Muhammad who happen to be black. Well, many of them were Abyssinians or from Ethiopia. You see? So they will tell you about, they can even talk. I'm not 100% sure, but I think there was one, maybe an adoptive son of Muhammad who happened to be black, but it's not a biological son, you see? So they love to talk about companions of Muhammad who happen to be black, but those people, once again, they were not Arabs. They were Ethiopians. But to make a long story short, they have not shown one quotation, one citation where Muhammad ibn Abdullah is described as black, Aswad. The best they have come to so far was Asmar, which means once again something like brown. So, Wake Up World wrote And feel free with the comments, brothers and sisters. I have a little bit of time before I go back to work, so been a long time I haven't heard from y'all. Wake Up World wrote, I guess sometimes Sanetta and BP were going through it. They were saying a lot of bad things about each other. However, they squashed their beef. Now the rape allegation for BP have Sa waiting to confirm. Okay, Wake Up World who wrote, no, I know you're cool, Shaka. Okay, good. Um, well, people go through disagreements happens. But when you make some strong allegations against someone like that publicly, if the allegation is not true, and there were two allegations. On one hand, he implied that BP had a strange behavior with underage, well, with one underage girl who happened to be related to his wife. But the other accusation was of scamming. And usually when you have a disagreement or dispute, an argument with someone that you don't just say, oh, this dude is a scammer. You have a situation, you have a disagreement. Okay, this is a problem. And maybe you might say, well, on top of that, back in the days, he did this, he did that. You know what I'm saying? He borrowed some money from me, didn't give back to me. Maybe, but you don't claim, well, he's a scammer. He scammed me. He scammed other people. He scammed children. That's something else. So if he made those accusations and those accusations happen to be false, there's a problem there. It's more than irresponsible. Now, Robert Ron wrote, nope, I don't know what you're talking about, but feel free. Okay, there he wrote, we are not Arabs. The Arab is not us. Now, Wake Up World wrote, we should have healthy standards, not just standards. Robert Ron wrote, no such thing as the original black Arab people. And I agree with you. And I hope that whoever came in, maybe they heard me saying claims. I was just saying the claims of those people who allege that Muhammad ibn Abdullah and the Arabs of the 7th century were black. I disagree with that, but I was just saying their arguments at first, and then I was kind of debunking them. But for the record, I spoke briefly, even though some might feel like I was a bit long-winded, but I have a full detailed article where I quote the hadith, several hadith, and Muhammad is described as white. Okay, Sahih Bukhari mainly. We have also Sahih Muslim. I think we have Sunan Dawood. So this article, you will find it. If you go on my website, you have the address here, afrostyle.com/English. Okay, because that's a French version here. For the sake of space, I only just put that address to the .com. But you go to the bottom of the page and it says "Scholar of Muhammad and the Arabs of the 7th century," or something like that. So you will have the full article. You see, you have a lot. You see, and you have those quotes and those claims of the people who allege that the Arabs were black. So the Lisan al-Arab quote by Ibn Mandur, you will have them talking about the character, that Abiyad is denoted a good character and stuff like that, I actually even quoted Dr. Waslim Muhammad. I quoted his book and one or two of his articles as well. But mainly I've quoted his book. Wake Up World wrote, Umar is wild. Abdullah Kent wrote, there's rumors Dr. Umar does hard drugs. That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, sometimes he looks like he's not in his right state of mind. Robert Brown wrote, Arabs were never black people. Wake Up, even though he goes after misandrous women that hate healthy heterosexual in general by debates, he didn't have to post those. Oh yeah, I did not read properly. Umar Johnson shouldn't have posted that. And our brother is talking about Umar Johnson Johnson posting a picture of the underwear, the penny, and or the admirer or the follower or the groupie, and we even have what appears to be the envelope with the address, the PO box where he can be reached. And to me, it's encouraging other people to do the same. I mean, I don't blame him for receiving that. I'm not going to allege that he sent that to himself. But for him to post it, what is the motive? Because I think it's to encourage people. I might be wrong. But what's the motive? What's the purpose? What is the purpose? So I'm not perfect. And you see, people mention patterns when it comes to behavior. We know what happened a few years back, making it rain. We know what happened. And then there was a very strong accusation against that lady that he was involved with. I thought that was really low. Try to have people angry at the lady as if she's the reason why he did not achieve that goal of his. But I'll leave it there. So sometimes maybe, oh, that was 2 years ago. That's the past. So Abdullah Kent wrote, okay, thank you. I'll check out those books. I also been looking into the Moors Much Love. Well, the Moors, how can I sum it up? They claim black rulership over Europe. Well, really, it was Muslims who conquered some parts of Europe. And amongst those Muslims, you had black soldiers, warriors, or mercenaries. But it was surely not black people in charge or running Europe. Not at all. Just like today, you have the U.S. Army, and you can find black people who are part of the U.S. Army. So it's like me taking pictures of only black soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I say, well, you see, look, black people went and invaded Afghanistan and Iraq and all these other places. You see, so yeah, I think that's the best way to sum it up. I think that's the best way to sum it up. And they used to be all over the place, trying to claim America, Southern America, Morocco, Atlantis, Lemuria. Atlantis, last I checked, that's not that's not a real location. It goes into the realm of fantasy, you see. So they love to claim that they're not black. That black means scorch and stuff like that. But the funny thing is that Runoko Rashidi, who has recently passed, said that Moor means black. Now I did have the video of him saying that. I don't know if it's still up, but I did share it so many times before. And by the way, one of the things that the Moors are big with, sovereignty and nationality. So plenty of them claim that they have their nationality, their Moorish nationality, and just like I have demonstrated with one of the Moors that used to make a lot of noise back then, but we don't hear from anymore. I asked him if he had a passport. He replied yes. I asked him what is written in the nationality field of his passport. He kept saying Moor. I insisted. Does it say, are you telling me it says Moor in the nationality field of your passport? He said yes. I said, can you show and prove? He said, absolutely, if I have to. So after that, he started slandering me, even to the point of making an anonymous slander video and insulting me, my father, my mother, with a lot of profanity. And I got to know it was him who made that anonymous slander video. It was made with, when you type in and then there's a robotic voice reading whatever you type. It's because after that video came out, Um, we had an exchange during a Blog Talk Radio uh, broadcast, and we had an exchange of words. Then I bounced. I hang up, and after I hang up, he basically almost said verbatim, word for word, what was said in our slander video. So I knew. And even before that, one of the members of the team that he belonged to subscribed to this channel where the anonymous slander video was uploaded. So what a coincidence that a new account gets created in order to slander me, and one of the member of his team happens to be one of the subscribers. I had the screen capture and all that, so I shared that. So all this to say that this guy willingly lied on air because there was no such thing as a Moorish nationality. That doesn't exist. And you can do the test and ask any Moor who claims to be a Moorish national, whichever of them has a passport, because some will be slick and say, I don't have a passport. Because some people talk about the traveling document that they have and so on, but it's very simple. Ask them to show you a passport that says Moor or Moorish or whatever else that is that indicates their Moorish nationality. I guarantee you it will say United States of America. To my knowledge, that's what it says. To my knowledge, on a U.S. citizen's passport in the nationality field, it doesn't say American. It says United States of America. Now, if it says American, that's something new that I didn't know about, and I would have learned something. But have you, brothers and sisters, ever seen a passport where it says Moor or Moorish in the nationality field? And then the other thing, like I was saying, there's two main things that they are big on, besides claiming to be from everywhere, including Lemuria, Atlantis. That is the sovereignty. And a lot of them ended up in jail. And I wonder if some people say that Wesley Snipes went to jail listening to this Moorish sovereignty thing. And I don't even know if it was the case also for Lauryn Hill. But a fair bit of them ended up in jail or with a lot of legal problems. And you also have some people who basically took over people's property while those people were away and talking about, finding loopholes or claiming loopholes to say, well, I'm sovereign, but for the most part, sooner or later, they end up in jail and at least evicted from the property that they took over. It's good to know the law, but it's not good to share false information and have people believe that they can take over properties or make people believe that they are sovereign and they can avoid paying taxes. And then those people end up having legal trouble, including being sent to prison. That's messed up. And when the Moors claim to be custodian of the Egyptian science, now, Noble Drew Ali, it is said that his partner, one of them, if he had many, it is said that she was underage. Now, Elijah Muhammad has been said that he got involved with underage females. So I don't know if this is an Asiatic black man thing, but like I was saying, this type of things happen. There's good and bad everywhere, you see. So for those who don't know, Drew Ali plagiarized the Aquarian Gospel, okay, to come up with this seven circle Quran. Now, let me go through the comments because I can see there are many. I'm going to skip a few comments. Don't be mad at me. Peace to you, Asiatic Lion. Abdullah Kent wrote, I also heard Muhammad was plagiarized from Muhammad. What's your thought on that? I don't agree with that. To me, that's linguistic acrobatics, linguistic gymnastics. However, one funny thing that French speakers will probably be more receptive to is that fake scholar and known scammer in the French Pan-African world. Not long ago, he said Muhammad was black and his name was Mamadou. Now, for those who don't know, Mamadou, that's the African way of, that's the African pronunciation or the African way for the name Muhammad. So that comes after, you see. Like, for example, in French, their way of saying Muhammad is Mahomet. And a lot of Muslims don't like that. They don't use that. But a lot of historians, journalists, and so on, they will say Mahomet. When you have newspapers and they write article, they like to write it that way, that French way. So it's like me saying, or somebody saying, well, Muhammad was European and his name was Mahomet. That's just ridiculous, you see. So we have linguists. Those people are specialists when it comes to languages. And I've never heard of any linguist agreeing with these claims or making any correlation between the Medu Neter and the name Muhammad. So I disagree with this claim. Wake Up World wrote, as Shaka Amos says, no Abrahamic religion has any corporal evidence of their ancient prophets. Those are red flags. Well, Asiatic Lion wrote, use DNA evidence in black Arabs. Well, for those who don't know, me and Asiatic Lion, we went back and forth about his claims. He's of the opinion that the Arabs of the 7th century and beyond were black. Now, if you want to believe that sad story of Caucasians invading Arabia, the population becoming mixed, and eventually the population becoming extinct, well, knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. And it's funny that Egypt was finally conquered in 600 BC, but you still find some black people, some black indigenous Egyptians. But we don't find any black indigenous Arabs. And what people like to do is to show pictures of black people who happen to be Arabia, just like I can show you a picture of some black person in Russia. I'm not going to claim that the Russians were black initially. And a lot of time, you might have some people labeled as Arabs just because they spoke Arabic, you see? But which specialist says that there's some DNA evidence for black Arabs? Which specialist says that? Which doctor? Which PhD? Because those are the specialists. Abdullah Ken wrote, Saneta has always been in it for the money. There's nothing wrong with your money. The thing is that, you know, it's important to be just. It's important to be fair. It's important to have standards. You see? And if you know that some Hebrew Israelite has been convicted of molesting children, why would you have him on your platform? Robert Round wrote, yes, indeed, he is definitely described as a white man. Yes. But the trick they tried to pull is to say, well, that word, Abia, doesn't mean white. It means black. And that's a shame because it's a bit ridiculous. Asiatic Lion wrote, there is no Kush without Afro-Arabian DNA. I have source on deck. Okay. Let me know which scholar says that, please. Now, Robert Brown wrote, Umar Johnson is a drug addict. I did not say it. I only read the comment. And he also added that he is on coke. I don't know about that, but I don't mean to be rude towards individuals that I disagree with. See, my goal is not to slander people. And it's not even to disrespect people, but we're speaking because we can see how far it has gone. We can see how far it has gone. Now there's some serious legal implication. And I saw several people was trying to defend such and such. Now they try to distance themselves. If you have morals and standards, you won't come to that extent, you know. And that's a generic you. I'm not targeting anybody. Now, Wake Up World wrote, Sanetta said in a recent video that he was upset at BP, and they squashed their beef though. So I don't know. The products that I got from BP was a book and some other financial services. Once again, I can understand people having disagreement and beefing and all that. You know, I mean, with Sanetta, beefing is something. It's almost in his DNA, or because he's known for having beef with so many people so many times, and then being cool with them. You know, and one of the biggest examples is Saud Seti. How many times was he beefing with Seti and then being cool with Seti? And one thing particular with Sanetta is that when he beefs to people, well, back then at least, he used to have people on that train wagon. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, when I beef with someone, I don't make false accusations about that person. And we need to remember there was him implying that Polite wasn't up to no good with a minor who happened to be the child of his wife or partner, and there was the accusation of scamming, you see. And that's very serious for him to make these accusations publicly. And for him to say, well, you know, we used to beef, but you squash it. Hey, come on now. So if we are beefing, you're going to accuse me of those two things or even more? To me, that doesn't make sense. To me, that doesn't make sense. That's me. Robert Brown Road, Sanetta channel needs to be brought down. I wouldn't go that far. Asiatic Lion Road, Kush came out of Arabia and back migrated into Africa. Okay. Spirit Hawk Road, question everything. It's not bad to question everything. It's not bad. Then there's a need for methodology, you see. And it doesn't hurt to consult the specialist. I'm not a specialist. I don't hold a PhD. A PhD is the highest academic level that one can reach. So it doesn't hurt to consult with a PhD. You have their contact details on the university website, and if they have time, they'll reply to you. You see, if you know someone who is studying and getting lesson from a lecturer who holds a PhD, you might ask him, you know, brother, sister, if you don't mind, can you ask that scholar this question? But then again, PhDs write books. Some are a bit technical and difficult to read. Others are more entry level, you see. But our people, we love to do wordplay, linguistic gymnastics, linguistic acrobatics, and we like to take things for face value because it was said by someone who has a large following, for example, or by someone who has a lot of money, for example. And many times we believe in stuff because some correlation are made with their belief system. And we know Black people, for the most part, it is the Abrahamic belief system. You see. And don't feel like it's the same for everyone. Because if we take Chinese people, I don't think that for the most part they are into the Abrahamic belief system. Now, India, it might be half-half, or it might be a majority of people into the Abrahamic belief system. But when I say majority, I just mean that there might be a little bit more people into the Abrahamic belief system. But Hinduism is strong. Now, Broke never wrote or is actually asking the question. Saneda was charged and arrested. I haven't heard about that. Brother Polite has been charged and he turned himself in. So I don't know if he's detained now. But he's accused of some very serious felony crime. The case is ongoing. Wake Up World wrote, since BP's companies are not Amazon, etc., certain products may take longer if there's a lot of orders. Overall, I hope BP did not rape a 14-year-old female. We will see in due time. Yes, we will definitely see in due time. We will see in due time. It's a shame, however, that, as many people say, BP did not say, I didn't do it, or I'm innocent, or whatever. It would have been better to not say anything at all than to speak, at least on 2 occasions, and sounding more arrogant than anything else, without even saying, I didn't do it. It's not true. It's false. However, it could have been worded so many ways. But we will see. We will see. We will see. Now, Robert wrote, Sanada is the main source for these people who have. I don't see the rest, so I keep going. Asiatic Lion wrote, More does mean black. This dude needs to study the Arabic Quran. Well, more doesn't derive from the Arabic. It derives from the Greek. And I have a video. There's a quote, I think it's from Golden Age of the Moor, and it's a part written by Runoko Rashidi. The Spirit Hawk agrees with me when I was talking about the Moors, and he's agreeing with the claim that black Moorish people invaded, ruled, conquered Europe. That it was Muslims, and amongst those Muslims, some of those people were black. And Spirit Hawk adds slaves, soldiers, eunuchs, jesters. And I'm happy that you mentioned the eunuchs, because there's a very famous picture of a black Muslim, but he's often labeled as a Moor. And people like to show that picture, probably because it's dated from the time where Europe was ruled by Muslims. And they show that picture, the guy has a certain stance, so they probably feel like, well, that must have been a Moorish noble, but that guy is actually an eunuch. And if you don't know what an eunuch is, that's someone who has been castrated, and most of the time they were in charge of harem. So a harem is a place where you have the ladies of the ruler, the sultan, the king. So I'm not saying that eunuch is exclusively in charge of a harem. He might be a worker in a house, but that's their way of making sure that the domestic, the help, the slave will not get busy with any female from the house. You see? So they take pride of an individual who has a subservient position and it has been castrated. Isn't that ironic? Wake Up World wrote, Medi from the Medu nature was corrupted into the world more. I strongly disagree with that. I strongly disagree with that. There are 2 words, Mer, that I know of from the Medu nature. The main one is the one that means love. So the term Ta Meri, Ta means land, Meri, beloved land. One of the name, let's say, for ancient Egypt. And the other one is for the word pyramid, mer. Okay. As for more, that derives from the Greek. So as strong Robert wrote polite, the mighty Hebrew, young Pharaoh, and nature boy. All of these people are sexual deviants. Uh, I'm just reading the comments. Robert wrote, Sarnetta knew exactly what Polite was doing. Remember that back in June or July, Sarnetta was with Polite in Miami. I wouldn't say that because Polite was, I'm sorry, I wouldn't say that because Sarnetta was with Polite in Miami, that it means he knew exactly what he was doing. I mean, come on. We went there for like a weekend or a few days. You know, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far. I think we should be fair with our uh, statements. Now, Asiatic Lion wrote, join SVDL. Shaka, I'll debate you. Did Kush come from Arabia? I'll debate you here respectfully. Brother, we have not really debated, but we have had so many discussions about this, Arabia and all that. And I mean, you are known for having making so many claims that you couldn't back up, and you make claims about sources. And when we checked for the sources, we wouldn't see what you claimed. And one of the things that you have been big about is that Berber coming from the Medu Nature. You know, I didn't see that on any glyph. I didn't see any dictionary where we are told this is the root of the word Berber. But that's just one example. That's just one example. So I don't think you are equipped enough to have a debate with me. And I'm saying this respectfully. You said yourself so many times that you are not computer savvy. You don't manage to share sources on the screen. So I have plenty of sources. I have plenty of um, uh, artifacts. I mean, did Kush come from Arabia? And basically, the guy that you agree with many of your claims, that's Wesley Muhammad. And you know that I crushed him at a distance. You know that he challenged me to a debate and he backed down. So if you want to get him on board, you or anybody else, you guys can, uh, um, come up with some fundraising, you know, and and have him stepping up to the plate. But I don't think he would do that now, because he's right now is to be a minister. His goal is to become a minister. But I won't really have the time to entertain each and every debate request. See, I've already presented arguments with artifacts, original artifacts. You see, but so far you haven't. See, so my premises have been made, well, at least for the Arabs, it was made in writing. And as for the ethnicity of the ancient people, that video, White Semites, Black Awakening, it speaks a volume. And besides this video, because on that video, White Semites, Black Awakening, the books are from the French National Library. So I was using books mainly. But over the years, I've been to so many museums and I've shown different artifacts of those individuals. So I've shown people from Canaan, Mesopotamia, Sumer, Akkad, the Levant, the Near East. I've shown them for years, and they consistently have the same Caucasoid phenotype. You see, I have presented all that already, all throughout the years. Robert wrote, Wesley Snipes tried that sovereignty and he ended up in jail. He added, no Moors can read the Meta Nature. I think some Moors probably can read the Meta Nature. I wouldn't say that, and Moors are not all the same. Some Moors are moderate in their statement. Now, others are just all over the place. But it's been a few years we haven't really heard those diehard Moors who claim everything, I mean, there's one Moor who's quite famous. He was featured in a documentary. At one point, he was associated with one lady from a reality TV show or something like that. And years back, he said that Moor means navigator. So even with the term Moor, they are all over the place. Since when does Moor mean navigator? Spirit Hawk is from Georgia. Now you see, Asiatic Lion wrote, it's all ours. It's stupid we think Hebrews always beefed with Kemet. That's not true. Now, I'm not claiming that they always beef with Kemet, but it is likely that it happened on a regular basis. But Hebrews in history, can someone show me how ancient that is? I don't even think that exists in antiquity. The term Hebrew is recent, you see. Now, as for the sea people, the Amu, as our ancestors called them, well, at least that's a term that is usually translated as Asiatic. We're not 100% sure of where they're from, but I did show from the British Museum a description that says that the Hyksos, Hekakasut, they were from Palestine, or from Canaan, okay? And it is known that when the 18th dynasty came about, Amos and his family, when they chased the Hyksos ran into that area of Syria-Palestine. So most likely that was where they are from, you see? So when we talk about the time period, it's good to use the term that was, it is good to know the term used to describe a population. See? If we talk about it's a bit like me talking about the time period before America was no longer a British colony, and I talk about, the Bronx, Queens, Harlem. Well, those places did not even exist. You understand what I'm saying? Or it's like me saying, talking about African Americans when that thing was not in use back then, Abdullah Kent wrote, yeah, Noble Drew Ali plagiarized a Korean gospel and the Rosicrucian book. Unto thee I grant he was also educated and taught by the Shriners. And as for the Shriners, I'm glad you mentioned that, Abdullah Kent. Brothers and sisters, if you have not seen a video entitled Deception of Asiatic Black Men, then you're missing big time. There are 3 videos that I really recommend you to watch. Now, the number one that I recommend you to watch is called Kemet and Ma'at. Kemet space and it's actually the symbol for end. But if you spell it A-N-D, that's fine. Space Ma'at, that's M-A-A-T. Okay, you should have the link in the description box of this video, in the description section. Okay, so Kemet and Ma'at, if you have not seen it, please watch it. Then Deception of Asiatic Black Men, and also White Semites, Black Awakening. You will see what Hebrews look like. Oh, I almost made that mistake. I kind of made that mistake. What Canaanites look like. You will see Jehu, king of Israel, for example. Asiatic Lion wrote that the 22nd and 25th dynasty got along great with Hebrews and other dynasties. Spirit Hawk wrote Islam was the greatest thing to happen to the Arabs, but not for us. Robert wrote, not one specialist says that we are the original Arabs. Robert says that he blew through the donation money. I think he's talking about the brothers trying to open up a school. Was been trying to open up a school for about 10 years. Asiatic Lion wrote that Meir is Afro-Asiatic in Kemetic language, not Greek. Now, Meir is a Medu word. But when I mentioned the Greek, I was talking about more. More derives from the Greek. Probably, it might have went through the Latin as well, but I have the video. I don't remember the title, but if you go on my channel and you're right now. So I would have looked for it. I'm using my mobile phone right now. So if people insist, I can try to look for it. I'm sure I will find it. But I have quoted Ronoko Rashidi explaining that it derives from that more derives from the Greek. I'm just going through the comments. Oh, Asiatic Lion says, lol, you never crossed the doctor. Is there anything that I said that is inaccurate? Dr. Wesley Muhammad publicly challenged me to a debate on Facebook. I still have the screen capture, I believe, somewhere. And I agreed. And we spoke on the phone about a date and, you know, the modalities of the debate. And shortly after, he backed down. And I think he thought I would give him information over the phone, because when he debated Mukasa Africa, he mentioned that they spoke on the phone. And I think he managed to get a lot of information and the angle that Mukasa was about to take for the debate. But that wouldn't work with me. So he was obviously scared and he backed down. That's the reality. You know, I'm not, what I'm stating is fact. And that was 10 years ago. That was in 2011. 10 years ago. You see? No, I don't hate the dude. He was what he was. He's the one who challenged me. Oh, and then Asiatic Lion writes, "You're lying now, Shaka. Don't do that." What am I lying about? And many people know about that. Many people have witnessed the exchanges between Wesley and me. You know, he did write a couple articles mentioning me. You know, one specifically about me. You know, so Wake Up World wrote Saha the idea of uniting many different groups together on the platform while making money. A lot of people would not be as known as much if it wasn't for Saha's platform. He has a large platform indeed. I understand what you mean, Robert, when you say you have yet to see a Moorish person read the Medu Neter. I understand what you mean. But there might be some who know. Might be some who know a little some at least. Oh, Asiatic Lion is saying that Amu is not Asiatics. Okay, well. Oh, the book is at home. I would have shown you the word from a book, but my main miniature book, because I have several, is at home. Robert wrote, if the Moors are custodians of the ancient Egyptians, then they should have the ability to read and write the Middle Natural language system. That's a good point, actually. When they claim to be the custodian of the Egyptian science, but that's just a claim, like so many. I mean, I saw a documentary where they were explaining all the different claims from Drew Ali. Apparently, he claimed to be able to eat nails, and he was doing some acts and stuff like that. Almost like a circus. No disrespect, but really like a show, a spectacle. You see, so. What the world is saying, Shaka, that's what I'm saying. The so-called Islam Moors try to hijack the words Mary into more than justification. They falsely make the word more than Nile Valley, so they see more is there. Yes, it's true. They've been trying to do that. They've been trying to do that. But as a matter of fact, Ali Muhammad, who presented a fake PhD, a PhD certificate with a spelling error, so that's how we know it's fake. Guess on which platform he did? Oh, okay. I think it was the same platform, but anyway, that's not the owner of the platform's fault. That's not the fault of the owner of the platform. But Ali Muhammad he said there was no such thing as Kemet. It was the nation of Moor, and he showed that glyph that is a Hoe, and that's the glyph. That's the biliteral MR, the word that we usually say mer. Okay, so he tried to use that to make a correlation with the word more. And they often do that when there's a word with an M and an R, you see? And so he said there was no such thing as Kemet. It was a civilization of Moors. And he said, I hate Africa because it belongs to white folks. So you see that anti-black, that anti-African sentiment is usually there amongst Afro-Asiatic black men, because for those who don't know, the NOR has lessons that they call supreme wisdom that says that Africans are living a jungle life, that Africans are not civilized. And if you haven't seen it yet, you should have it in the description. You should say Shabazz malediction. We have seen Farrakhan in 1992, where he explained that black people are cursed and disfigured because we rebelled against God, and that our phenotype is the essence of ugliness. You can see it. It's in video, it's in color. But a lot of people don't know about that. But Dr. Ali Muhammad did say, I hate Africa. If you haven't seen the video, I can look for it. It might be there on my channel. But hey, we haven't heard from Ali Muhammad for a long time, so I don't know what he's up to now. Okay, I went through the end of the comments. I will have to, I've been live streaming for an hour and a half. I will have to resume work. Thank you for being there. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. Now, for those who are interested in Medu Nature, I actually give Medu Nature lesson. But you will see that you will have two testimonies in the outro that I will play. And you will also see the flyer, so you will have the email address. But the email address, for those interested with the Medu Nature lessons that are not free of charge, okay, it's $10 per lesson. It's way cheaper than most people who provide Medu Nature lessons. The email address is bossstylx@msn.com. I repeat, Bravo, Oscar, Sunday, Tango, Yankee, Lazarus Yankee X-ray at msn.com. So to make it simpler, BOSSSTYLYX at msn.com. We can do better than what has been going on. We can definitely do better. If we think better, we will act better. Stay safe, stay healthy, and if I'm allowed to, by the next.
For those who don't know, I'm giving middle nature classes, and here, that's the flyer. Okay, so those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video Kemet and Ma'at before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more.
I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta Nature class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta Nature lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had, ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta Nature, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody's interested in learning the Meta Nature, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hana Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu Neture classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how, involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also with sharing materials free of charge, no question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class. And all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medu Neture class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Ma'at Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Ma'at. Don't forget to share Kemet and Ma'at on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/ma'atforever.